Hi, everybody. It is time. It is time to get started. My goodness, has it been a whole month since we have been here? I hope your month has been a little bit calmer than my month has, because let me tell you, my goodness, it has been crazy. But we're here. It's time to give some stuff away. As y'all know, we come on about 5 minutes early to do the giveaway from last month for VIP attendees, because I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't get all that information around all those reports during the gathering. So I have to ask for grace and do those a little bit later. So just to remind you, I've got Gardening Complete, subtitled How to Best Grow Vegetables, Flowers, and Other Outdoor Plants. Y'all, this is a thick book. It's a nice hardback book. It's got beautiful pictures, all kinds of information in here for you. Um, so let's see who's going to win. All right. So we will go, of course, to the Wheel of Names, because that is where all good and fun things happen on giveaways. So let me just share my screen here. If you attended last month's gathering and you were a current VIP member, then your name is on this wheel. So here we go. Good luck to everybody. Fingers crossed for you. Our winner is Teresa. All right, Teresa, let me write your name down, because if I don't, I'll just put this book on my coffee table. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I would watch the recording and find out who won. All right, Teresa, I'm going to be sending you an email to figure out where I need to mail this bad boy and get it on the way to you. All right, guys. So that is the giveaway. And look how fast I did that. Man, I did that just like a snap. I need to talk more. Said nobody ever to me. I hope you guys have had a great month. Last month, we had a good gathering. This month we've got a great gathering coming up. We're doing not natural preparedness, although I'm sure there will be some natural preparedness talked about. It's natural disaster preparedness in your home and in your community. So this is not just preparing your family. This is also preparing, like, in your community. Like, what do you do when a natural disaster strikes your community? I know we have ladies in our organization nationally that have helped arrange places for people's animals during the recent floods. They networked and said, hey, who's got a spot for horses? Who's got a spot for some cows? Got some goats that need a place to stay, and really kind of farmed these guys out, if you will. But and that's what it's all about. That's why we have this community. And that's one of the things that I love about LHG is you don't have to be good at everything, because you make connections, and um, you can be really good at something and know somebody else who's really good at something different, and you can help each other. So that is why we are here tonight. And it is almost 8 o'clock. We aren't going to get started until 8 o'clock, because that is when we officially start. But hey, tell me where you're from. I just threw the chat up on my window. So if you are here, man, there's 31 of you. Hi, Judy. Yeah, change it to where it says all panelists and attendees, so that you can chat with everybody. Otherwise, just the panelists will see it. So we've got Indiana, we've got Washington, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Virginia, Kansas, more Georgia, Colorado, Michigan, South Florida, Hey, Ann from South Florida. I don't know if we've ever had anybody from South Florida before. Welcome. North Carolina, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas, South Carolina. Welcome, Teresa. Representing the Piedmont State. I like it. Newport, Washington. No, Northport, Washington. Sorry. Iowa. So we got people from all over the country. I am so glad that you guys are here. I cannot speak highly enough about our speaker tonight, Miranda Johnson. Y'all are going to love her. She is not only a close personal friend of mine, but she's just a neat person. So I know y'all are going to really enjoy hearing from her tonight. But before we do that, I want to officially welcome everybody. It is 8 o'clock. We will get started. And just so if those of you came on a little bit later and wondered if you missed anything, I want to let you know we do, well, I start talking at 7:55. We don't officially start our gathering for the month until 8. But at 7:55, I do a drawing from the previous month's gathering. So we do several giveaways. And one of the giveaways that we do is for our VIP members who attend our gatherings, but there's a little bit of analysis that needs to go into like matching up attendees to the VIP list from our system. So I have to do that offline after the gathering. I just don't have enough time to get it done. So instead of taking time away from our gathering, I do that just a few minutes ahead of time. So you didn't miss anything as far as like information from tonight's gathering. But I just wanted to let you know what's going on. If you love giveaways as much as I do, sign on at 7:55 every month and you can see me give away the VIP giveaway from the month before. Or if you were super excited about whatever it is we were giving away, like tonight's giveaway for VIP attendees, let me tell you, it's a good one. Everybody is going to want it. So, and the good thing is, if you are not a VIP member right now, all I see is the date. So if you join us today, then you still qualify for the VIP giveaway if you attend. And if you were here. So that's awesome. Yes, Jesse just dropped in the comments there. If you are not a VIP member and you would like to join us, there's a link in the chat there that Jesse just put up there. And it gives you lots of different perks. You get access to our National Virtual Gathering recordings the week after. So if you can't attend, you still get access, you will get access the following week. Whereas if you're not a VIP member, you have to wait till the following month to get access on YouTube. But if you're a VIP member, you can access the link for that behind our, on your account. There's a place for that once you sign into your account on our website. And also every month, as well as the VIP attendees giveaway, we do a VIP, all VIPs giveaway. So if you can't make it and you're a VIP member, you're still eligible for the VIP giveaway. It's just a little something from us to say thank you for being a member. And it's just a perk. We like perks. So, and there's also discount codes and all kind of stuff that goes along. But this is not a VIP membership speech from me. So let me see. Cindy Ball.
Hello.
There she is. All right, Cindy, take it away and I will see you in a few minutes.
Yeah, we have a special surprise for you all tonight. You know, we're being wild and crazy and actually stretching our technical abilities tonight. So we're going to see if it works. And in the meantime, while Ginger's working her magic technically, I want to go over our purpose statement. I wish I could hear everybody and we could all say it together because I just think that'd be so cool. So our purpose statement, the reason we exist from the very beginning is empowering women through homesteading. Very, very dear to my heart. And it doesn't matter what kind of a homesteader you are, because as I have said from the beginning, homesteading means to do at home instead of going to the store. So even here in Montana, pardon me, my dog, Piper, there's other dogs outside the cabin, so she sees them. Even here in my tiny 200 square foot cabin in Montana, I am homesteading. I have kombucha brewing and all kinds of stuff. I made a greenhouse out of a broken refrigerator because it's so cold outside. I'm not sure any plants would live without some sort of insulation or covering. So, yep, still doing it here in Montana, in the mountains. And then the other thing I wanted to go over tonight is our mission statement. So how do we empower women through homesteading? By sharing knowledge, which we are doing here tonight, building community, which I feel is so important right now, especially coming out of COVID and all those restrictions. And then my favorite is growing friendships, which the women that I met when I started this organization in 2011 are still very, very close friends. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool being able to do that. So let me check and see if our wild and crazy Ginger has made it to her location. Ginger, are you there?
I
Oh,
am here.
wait, I had one more thing to do.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to go over our Atta Girls. I'm telling you, ladies, if you're ever feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I can do this, or I'm just, am I ever going to have a success in my garden or with my animals, whatever you're doing, get on Mighty Networks. Miranda posts every month Atta Girls and for women to share what they have accomplished. And I was reading through this and it's just so encouraging and supporting. So I'm just going to read you a couple tonight. So Stephanie Millican, I hope I say your last name's right. We finally set up our yurt on our new property this past week. We are completely off grid, so there's a lot of work ahead of us. I think that's amazing. And I love yurts. So I think it's super cool that you're actually living one. This is one of my other favorite ones that I read. Christina Anderson, she says, I have a shout out to Brittany Fry, who spent the day at my place Wednesday doing a goat health and wellness day. She did hooves, injections, drew blood, etc., and also taught us how to do the same. It was great to meet her and see an expert at work. Thanks, Brittany. There is a true example of sharing knowledge, and how wonderful that you share it, help these people who have, or help Christina who has goats, be a better husbandry person by taking care of her goats. And I just love when you women share your knowledge that you have. My thought was always, why should somebody else make the same mistakes that I did? Let them make their own, but don't make the same ones I did. Wendy Hallgren, I just finished a chicken tractor for my meat birds. Let me see, Cindy Ellis planted corn and cabbage and zucchini and tomatoes, and they're all doing well. Suzanne Hinton, I made my first 2 tinctures. One is holy basil and the other is an allergy blend. I'm super excited to have learned this skill and to have learned it from a wonderful LHG member. Again, sharing that knowledge. We'll do one more. Let me see here. Jen England, halfway done fencing the pasture. Baby pigs due in June, so getting their spaces ready. And then she was attending her first farmer's market. So anyways, oh, I have to do this one because this one's super cool. Made clotted cream. Helen Flights, I hope I'm saying that right. Made clotted cream from raw cream. Lemon curd, one of my very favorites. Gluten-free shortbread and regular shortbread for Mother's Day tea today. All 4 things turned out great, and my mama felt very special and loved it, her tea. I also grabbed a gallon of raw milk to make mozzarella tomorrow. Yay for the dairy people. So anyways, that's just a few. There was a whole bunch that's on there. So again, if you just need that inspiration or encouragement, go on to Mighty Network and look up the Atta Girls for this last month, and you'll see everybody on there. And there's a bunch. Okay, Ginger, we're ready for you.
Okay. So I am actually out here and I'm going to do a quick farm tour for you guys because it makes me laugh every time we get a farm tour or her story, because everybody goes, I'm the weird one. But I really feel like I'm the weird one, and you'll see why in just a minute. But I'm going to give you a quick farm tour. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time out here because y'all all know what a garden looks like. But we've got rhubarb and some radishes. We've got asparagus with some beets, more asparagus with beets, carrots there, radishes there. There's our big elderberry guy that looks great there. We've got beets, tomatoes. Our squash are not doing well. I'm going to probably pull them, but then we have 4 more rows of tomatoes. I think we have about 100 tomato plants out here in the ground, which we actually have tomatoes on them. We have, I think, 12 different varieties total. But you can see here, we've got some pretty little tomatoes. And then we have a heritage breed of chickens. These are Spitzenhabens. And I'll show you these guys because they've got really cool mohawks. This is red. And you can see the males have these spiky mohawks. And all my females are in bed, but they have like a bouffant. They have a bouffant on the top. So that's really the first way to tell. To tell the males from the females on this breed is the boys get like a mohawk, spiky mohawk, like it's got gel in it, and the girls get like a fluffy bouffant. It's really kind of fun. So then here we've got more radishes, beets and carrots, and of course dandelion because they like to grow everywhere. Beet greens there, and then beans are growing down. Those will actually trellis over there. This greenhouse you see back here is not operational just yet, but this one that we're getting ready to go into is, and the new greenhouse will actually do the same things that we do in here. So we actually don't have any soil in our greenhouse here. We've got tilapia here. I don't know if you can see them. I should have cleaned the window, but there's a bunch of tilapia. We have 2 tanks of tilapia. We actually do aquaponics here. Let me turn the light on. So we start our seeds in these small beds here. This is our nursery bed. We grow in rock wool. For anybody who's familiar with rock wool, they actually take rocks, spin them up, they heat them till they get molten, and then they spin it into like a fiber. Like think if you were to spin caramel, how it gets kind of stringy. It's kind of the same process, only way more complex, I'm sure. And then they press it into those cubes. And so all through here, through our greenhouse, we grow kale and lettuce, and we use the deep water culture method, which allows us to grow right in the water. So our farm is not a typical farm. We do have some seasonal crops outside, but in here, this is really our bread and butter, butter lettuce, that is, as you can see. And the kale is what we do. And we actually are a small commercial farm. So we do sell at the farmer's market. We sell to some restaurants locally. And so that is our farm in a quick nutshell tour. So.
All right. You ready to give us her story along with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back outside and because the fans, I think, were they too loud or?
I couldn't hear them, but that doesn't. Okay. All right. When did you first realize that you were interested in homesteading?
So I think I've always had that like homestead, like do it at home, kind of do it yourself. I mean, I've always been a crafter, so I've always done like knitting and crocheting and that kind of stuff. And then as I got older and kind of out of college, I started going and buying like bushels of beans and freezing them because I was in an apartment. So I would, I had a food saver at the time. So I would use my vacuum sealer and, portion up the bushel of beans, and, I'd blanch them and freeze them so that I could have fresh beans. And, then I learned to can, and, then I decided to have a garden in my backyard. And then I decided I would try this crazy aquaponics thing. And it just kind of was a snowball. And for me, like, the chickens were not the gateway drug. They have been the last addition. Everything else kind of came first. So yeah, so it was kind of a gradual. I've always liked doing things for myself. I'd rather make it than buy it most of the time.
Yeah. So I think you pretty much answered my second question, which is what did it look like for you at the beginning? So
it was very much like craft induced, I think, and then it moved into the food part of it and just enjoying making.
Yeah. What was the impetus to continue in this pursuit?
So it was kind of a stop before we started. So we have about an acre fenced in for our dogs in the backyard, and we had a garden, like just a typical backyard garden. And I was working full time, and my husband one year said, "That's it. I'm not plowing for you. You need a break. The weeds, working full time and having such a big garden, the weeds drive you crazy. You're going to just chill this year. I'm not plowing." And I said, okay. But I had to grow something because you just can't not grow anything. That's just not a thing. And so I got on YouTube and tried to find something interesting I could grow along the fence. Like, I didn't just want to throw beans in a pot and grow them on the fence. I wanted something that if I was only going to grow one thing, I wanted it to be fun. And so I discovered loofahs, which don't grow in the sea. They actually are a gourd, which you would be surprised how many people think loofahs are from the sea. I found that over and over at the farmer's market. But so found loofahs. Then I found somebody growing loofahs in aquaponics. And so I asked my husband to make me a small chop and flip system. And he was like, I don't know. And so I just, you have to let him think it's their idea half the time. So I let him think about it for a little while. And he came back probably 3 weeks later and said, "I found this small commercial system. Why don't we just put up a greenhouse?" And I was like, okay, let's do it. So that's what, and once we got started, really being able to provide my friends and family and now our customers with high quality, healthy, nutrient dense food. I mean, we grow 100% chemical free. I can name, I think, 3 things that we use. Diatomaceous earth. We use food grade diatomaceous earth, food grade potassium bicarbonate, and food grade iron. And that's it. That's all we use. And the iron and the potassium go in the water. So that doesn't even go on the plants. And then the diatomaceous earth is what we use. And then beneficial insects. We do order beneficial insects and use those for pest control. And that's it. That's all we use. And if the bugs get them, the bugs get them. And if it's something we can't control, then we can't control. I would rather not have something to sell than sell a chemical laden product or eat a chemical laden product. So what keeps me going, I guess, from keep going on is that high quality, healthy. I know when I sell something to somebody, I know it's not going to hurt them. I know it's only going to help them maintain their health.
Yeah. And then our last question, how did you find LHG?
LHG. I found LHG at Mother Earth News. And so I saw y'all all at the booth, and I think maybe even got my membership before I left the parking lot that day. And it was just, that whole, we all say we're the weird ones, but then you find LHG and you're like, okay, I might be weird, but there's other weird people in their own weird way. And together we can all be weird together. And it's not so weird anymore. So, it was so nice to be able to talk with people and not feel like they were looking at you like you had 3 heads when you're like, oh, I have mealworms. And people are like, you do what in your kitchen? Or, I do worm composting right beside my sink. And they're like, eh.
Yeah.
So, it's just comforting to know that even though I might be the weird one, even in our group, because I know that aquaponics is a little bit different from most homesteaders, I still feel so at home.
Mhm.
I'm just different in the same weird way.
Yep. That's great. And then I am going to ask you this just in case people are wondering, how did you get on, because now you're part of the media, but how did that all transition from, because you were president of a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, really just staying involved, being involved, asking how to help, even at a higher level back when we could have retreats, and I think that's how I kind of got on the radar of everybody to get to the national level, is at the retreats. I would just ask, like, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? Because I wanted to help. I wanted to be involved. And, there's so many things that we need help with on so many different levels. Like, I think we were talking last week or the week before, one of the positions that we would love to have filled as a volunteer position is a note writer. Like, we would love for somebody to write thank you notes for us. We've got everything from like totally non-technical note writing all the way up to like YouTube and like analytics, and everything in between, like graphics and editing. And if you have a skill, we have a job for you, basically. But really, it's serious.
Yeah.
But and it's an organization that I have found so much joy from, and the community gave me such a sense of belonging, and I'm like, okay, here I am. This is my tribe. These are my people. And the more people I meet, the more best friends I acquire.
Yeah.
And it's such a bad problem to have. You have so many best friends, but they just keep coming. Every time I meet somebody new, it's just like a new addition to the family.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and giving us a first ever tour on our national virtual gathering.
Oh, somebody asked, do I have a Facebook page? Yes, I do have a Facebook page. Our business is Naturally Fresh Farms, and I've actually got lots of videos on there. Last year, I was during the pandemic. I was really good about doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos. Not so good this year, but there's lots of stuff from last year. So if you just go on Facebook and search for Naturally Fresh Farms, you'll find us.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yep. And so now it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for tonight. Miranda Johnson is also on our executive staff, but she has done so much in her area with natural, I keep wanting to say natural preparedness. I don't know why, but natural disaster preparedness. She's going to give us so much good information. She is one of the funnest people to talk to. If you ever get a chance to talk to her, take the opportunity. If she calls you, answer the phone, because she is so much fun just to talk to. So Miranda, and I think maybe even Lorinda is on. If you guys want to go ahead and turn your cameras on and unmute yourself, we would love to be prepared.
Hi, ladies. Thank you, Ginger. So I want to talk to you ladies tonight about preparing. There's so much that we can do. And if we're prepared on our own, within our own homesteads, then that does open us up to be in a position where we can help those in our community, which is really important to us in Ladies Homestead Gathering, that we are part of a self-sufficient community. Being self-sufficient is the goal, but realistically, we want a self-sufficient community of women so that we can lean on each other in times of crisis or if there is a disaster. The main part of my talk tonight is about preparing personally for those experiences that happen. So I'm going to go ahead and put my share my screen with you guys here. All right, ladies. So emergency preparedness is an important part of homesteading life. We always want to be prepared. That's why most of us are interested in homesteading to begin with. So let's start by talking about why being prepared is important. All right, so first things first, being prepared and planning for an emergency or natural disaster can help you reduce fear and anxiety during an already stressful time. Some emergencies may be widespread and can cause a delay in emergency responders being able to reach you or your homestead. You need to be prepared to care for yourself and your animals, anywhere from a few hours to several days. And your homestead could suffer loss and lasting effects due to a natural disaster or emergency. Planning can help you be proactive when handling things instead of simply reactive. And this helps you to minimize any loss that you may experience. So the most important thing to remember about planning for an emergency is that you have to plan prior to the emergency or disaster. This happens by realistically listing potential emergencies and identifying which is most likely to affect you. Some likely emergencies or disasters include droughts, earthquake, fire, flooding, freezing temperatures, heat waves, hurricanes, landslides, tornadoes, tsunamis, wildfire, and winter storms. And that's not a complete list. That's just the ones that I came up with off the top of my head. In northern Idaho, where I live, I'm not likely to see a hurricane or a tornado. This type of event is not going to factor heavily into my preparedness plan. However, I will be preparing and planning for long-term power outages due to winter storms and freezing temperatures. Next, you want to build your plan and make sure that everyone knows what to do. Having a plan doesn't do you any good if everyone is unsure of what needs to happen. So practice does make perfect, so practice a lot. For many emergencies and disasters, staying home and sheltering in place is the best. If you're stocked up on supplies, you should have most everything that you need in order to get through several days at home. So you need to have plans for sheltering in place or evacuating. Things to consider when sheltering in place. Do you have a secure shelter? If something were to happen, like a busted window or wind damage to the roof, do you have basic supplies that you need to repair your shelter? Do you have scrap wood, screws, tarps, and locks on hand and easily available to you so that you can fix your structure? Will your livestock have access to shelter? Will you be able to keep them out of harm's way? Will they go into one barn together? Will you need to load them into trailers to keep them safe? Or are you going to bring your entire flock into your home with you if it gets cold or they don't have the shelter that they need outside? Do you have the supplies you need to survive? Have you prepared enough food and water to weather the length of an emergency at hand? Do you have enough first aid gear to respond to the situation as they arise for you and your livestock? These things factor into whether you should stay or you should evacuate. There will be times when evacuation is needed, either because it's unsafe for you to stay at your homestead or you've been notified that you must go. We have wildfires most summers here on the West Coast, and we watch which way the wind is blowing because we never know if we're only going to have moments to leave if we're in the path of a fire. Sheltering in place isn't always an option, so you do need to have a plan to leave. Do you have somewhere to go if you need to leave? Will you be staying in a hotel, on a friend's couch? Will you need to go to the nearest community emergency shelter? Do you need to take a camper or a tent with you? Planning for leaving will save you time and headache. What will you be taking with you when you evacuate? Do you have copies of all your important papers? These would be insurance papers for your medical insurance, your home insurance, your life insurance, and your auto insurance, birth certificates, passports, social security cards, driver's license, and a copy of your emergency plan. Do you have an emergency go kit prepared? Things like food and water and first aid that you can easily grab on your way out the door. Don't forget cash and credit cards, just in case you do end up staying in a hotel for a while. And if you need to leave your homestead, what will you do with your livestock? Do you have a way to transport them to a shelter or animal evacuation center? Have you tagged their halters with your name and address and phone number? Whether you evacuate with them or leave them behind, you'll still want to make sure that you have your best chance at finding them and getting them back where they belong with you. We've asked all the questions to help us start looking and preparing. Let's talk about preparing specifically using these areas of preparedness: water, food, sanitation, first aid, heating, and communication. Most emergency services are going to recommend that you prepare for 3 days, but I encourage you to look past that 72-hour benchmark and plan for at least a 2-week period. We never know what's in store, and being over-prepared is never a wasted endeavor. Let's take a look at how we can be better prepared. Water. You want to build your water storage at home, planning for each person that they're going to need 1.5 gallons of water per day for drinking and sanitation. Keep in mind the amount of water needed goes up when you factor in higher outside temperatures, pregnancy, and illness. You can purchase bottled water at the store. These plastic bottles are great for storing and are really easy to grab if the need for evacuation arises. You also can store water in jugs, water jugs, tanks, and food grade buckets. Replace stored water every 6 months, and don't forget to keep it in a cool place. You can also treat dirty water at home by either filtering or purchasing a water filtration system, building your own using gravel, sand, and charcoal. You can also purchase individual filtered water bottles and survival gear filtering straws. Don't forget that you can always boil your water too in order to make it safe to drink. Livestock. Water is going to be critical for your livestock. So you should plan on not being able to water them the way that you normally do. Large water tanks and IBC totes are great to have filled on hand. Stored water for livestock should be checked regularly to ensure that there's always enough and that it's fresh. Plan your water needs based on the needs of your livestock. Chickens, for example, both layers and broilers, are going to need 5 gallons of water per day per 100 birds. You're also going to want to make sure that beef and non-lactating dairy cows have access to at least 10 gallons a day. Lactating cows and bulls need no less than 20 gallons of water a day. Sheep, goats, and pigs, you're looking at 1 to 2 gallons of water a day for each of those. Llamas and alpacas should be getting no less than 3 gallons of water a day. And a mature horse is looking at needing about 15 gallons of water a day. Food. Food is another important part of emergency preparedness. Some seasoned homesteaders may have their pantry stocked with home canned meals already, veggies or fruits. For those of us, like myself, that are still learning to can, or you haven't been able to build up your food storage to where you would like it to be, there are ways to prepare for a 2-week emergency. You can purchase or make at home or trade and barter with a friend canned, dehydrated, or freeze-dried foods that provide nutritional benefits and require minimal preparation. You don't have to invest in MREs. or emergency food supplies, which can last up to 25 years when stored properly, but they can be quite expensive. Plan on stocking up on things like canned veg, fruits, stews, baked beans, and tuna. Other long-term food storage items to have on hand include salt, sugar, powdered milk, rice, beans, and flour. These items should be rotated regularly and restocked so that you're always ready for an emergency. These food items can make a big difference in the way you're going to eat the longer an emergency continues. An important part of preparedness is having food on hand that you can take with you in case you have to leave your homestead. Creating a go food bag that you can grab quickly on your way out the door is going to make life so much simpler for you. Stock the kit with things like instant oatmeal, dried fruits, fruit leather, nuts, and granola. You may need to plan on preparing meals without the convenience of your modern kitchen. If you don't have a wood stove, then you'll need to have an alternative means to prepare food, like a camp stove, a grill, or a campfire outside. Other things to gather and keep for these situations would be a manual can opener. Doesn't do you any good to have all that canned food in your pantry if you can't open it. A cooler, knives, utensils that can hold up against higher cooking temperatures, and matches. Don't forget to use these alternative cooking sources properly, always using them in a well-ventilated area and per manufacturer's instructions. I strongly encourage you to also have a carbon monoxide detector in your home if you're going to use an alternative way to cook your food. Animal feed. Most of you probably already know how much your animals are eating every day. So you need to be prepared for an emergency lasting up to 2 weeks by keeping 2 weeks of feed always on hand for all of your animals. I need a drink real quick, ladies. Sanitation. Sanitation in an emergency is critical in preparedness. By making sure you have the following areas covered, you may be able to stay safe and healthy. First thing, stock up on supplies. You're going to want to stock up on toilet paper or cloth squares to use in the restroom, soap, dish soap, and disinfectants such as vinegar and alcohol to keep microorganisms at bay. You also don't want to forget disposable gloves, garbage bags, and feminine products. Make sure you're always keeping your hands clean. Hand washing is the best way to prevent illness during an emergency. Showering and bathing can be tricky with a limited supply of water, but it's possible to be clean and comfortable with a little bit of planning. You can invest in a gravity solar shower, which will work well for showering off the day, but it's not going to work so great in getting your hair clean. Or you can get creative and use a garden tank sprayer for a refreshing rinse off. A sponge bath is a great alternative to bathing when water is scarce. Mother Nature calling can only be put off so long. As a matter of fact, in stressful situations, you may need to go more often. Keep in mind that one person can create up to 5 gallons of waste per week. You will want to have a plan in order to prevent odor and other problems from occurring. A toilet bucket may be an option. Simply a bucket with a toilet seat on it. That's all there is to it. It couldn't be simpler. Just a second, ladies. My computer went weird. All right. So a toilet with a lid on it, you can use that. You can line the toilet in your home with a garbage bag to dispose of after you're done using it. Also, you may want to consider investing in a porta potty or a chemical toilet if you are going to lack toilet facilities often. Here in Idaho, where we have winter storms quite a bit, we make sure that we have a way to use the restroom. If you have no other options, then bury your waste. Cover it with at least 2 to 3 feet of soil outside. Doesn't get any easier than that, does it? All right. If you end up in an emergency, chances are you're going to need to administer some amount of first aid. First, I encourage each of you to go and get CPR certified and take a basic first aid safety class. You never know when that training is going to come in handy. And having it at a time when you may be the only one there to administer these life-saving techniques, that may prove invaluable. You can contact your local hospitals, fire stations, and health departments to get a list of classes available to you. Fill your first aid kit. You'll want more than just Band-Aids and hydrogen peroxide in there. Have syringes, splints, and a suture kit so that you won't be caught unprepared. Other things to add to your kit: adhesive bandages in assorted sizes, antibiotic ointment, antiseptic wipes, aspirin, emergency blanket, an instant cold compress, disposable gloves, gauze, fabric bandages, an oral thermometer, tweezers, and a bottle of water to clean wounds if necessary. I also recommend that you keep a spare pair of prescription glasses in your first aid kit. You never know what's going to happen. And at least a week's worth of any prescription drugs you take, any prescription medications that you take, and a prescription so that you can fill your medicines if needed. You can even put things in your first aid kit like honey. It works great for burns, and it does wonders for an open wound. All right. If you end up in an emergency, chances are you're going to need to administer some amount of first aid. First, I encourage all of you to go and get CPR. Oh, I'm sorry, ladies. I already read that. Next, we're moving on to heating. Sometimes heating may become an issue. Loss of power can cause your heating system to not function, or a chimney fire may keep you from using your wood stove. So having an alternative source of heat is an important part of preparedness. I'm going to throw out this disclaimer real quick. Whenever you're using a secondary source of heat, you need to consider how to do this as safely as possible. Consider all the hazards and try to eliminate as many of them as possible. For example, I have a generator that we run when we lose power in the winter, and it keeps my pellet stove going when the temperature regularly is below freezing. I make sure to keep the generator outside when we're running it so that it vents properly and we can safely use our pellet stove to heat our home. Some alternative sources of heat would include a wood stove, a fireplace, a portable propane heater, making sure that it is approved for indoor use, using a generator to power the heating system you already have. There's whole home generators that you can purchase, and you can put those in, and with the flip of a switch, your entire home is running, including your heat. Even a candle puts off a small amount of heat. Adding extra layers will help keep you warm, making sure to not dress so heavily that you start sweating, which will eventually cool you down and make it difficult to warm back up. Gloves, hats, thick wool socks, those are going to be your best friend. Drinking hot soup and beverages is a great way to warm up from the inside out. And remember, conserving heat is sometimes the most effective way to get through a heating issue. You can close off most of your home, focus on only heating one area, and keep everyone there together. We all want to know what's going on and how long an emergency situation is going to last. That's why keeping a radio on hand is important. This is a tried and true way of getting information that you may need. You can get a solar-powered radio or keep a battery-operated one in your home. Don't forget, most cars also come equipped with a radio. It is recommended that you have a plan to get in touch with others in case you become separated. You never know what's going to happen. Have the name and number of someone you know and trust from out of state, or a family friend that is out of the immediate area, and make sure everyone in your household has that information. This person is who you're going to call and contact to let others know that you're safe and okay and where you're at. If you have to evacuate, leave a note on the table with the date that you're evacuating and the destination to which you're headed. Don't forget to leave your phone number so that somebody can get in touch with you. If someone comes to your home, a friend, family member, or a rescue worker, they're going to want to be able to reach out and check on you. Last minute ways to prepare. Fill your gas tanks and cars in your cars and generators. Top off all your propane tanks, the ones sitting under your grill or in your patio heater. Charge all of your electrical devices. Keep an assortment of batteries on hand for radios and flashlights. Have a fire extinguisher available. You don't want one emergency turning into another, so a fire extinguisher is always a great resource to have on hand. Turn your fridge and freezer down to the coldest setting. That's going to allow your goods in your fridge and freezer to stay cold a little bit longer. Also, keep candles, solar lights, and even glow sticks on hand. Consider having tools like chainsaws, snow blowers, or tractors ready if you need to clear a roadway. After the emergency. Once an emergency is over, you'll have some things to deal with, the aftermath. Number one priority is health and safety. The health and safety of your household, of the members of your community. Seek medical attention at this point if it's needed. Either go to the hospital or have the EMTs or rescue workers come to you. If you're returning home after evacuating, proceed with caution. Don't expect everything to be the way you left it, and keep in mind that damage could have occurred where you don't see it. If there was a flood or a fire, you may not see what the damage is initially. It's important to prepare yourself for returning. Even if you made it out okay and suffered very little in the way of loss from this, you're still going to feel devastated to come home and see your homestead and belongings if anything happened to them. Make sure that you take time to document, take photographs, and prepare information so that you can start filing a claim with your insurance company so that you can repair and rebuild. So ladies, that's what I had tonight for us. I really appreciate your time. I plan on starting a thread on our Mighty Network, which is community.nlhg.org, so we can discuss some of these preparing methods so that we can have a conversation with each other and find out how it works in your community. So if there's any questions, I don't see anything popping up.
So I know that it's hard to kind of keep up with the chat and listen and pay attention, but there was a lot of good information in the chat tonight. So I'm just going to kind of pull some of that to the front and mention a little bit of that. First of all, I will say from personal experience, we have one of those like Amazon return stores where they like buy the pallets of all the Amazon returns and they're just like sold for super cheap. I have found like medical staples, all kinds of different medical supplies at that kind of a place for super cheap. I think we got those on Dollar Day. So it was like a individually packaged. So don't just go to the store, like be creative and look around, look at those kind of places. Let's see. Okay. Yep. Everybody's agreeing longer than 72 hours, storing water in your bathtub, even if you only use it for your animals or for toilet flushing. And I'm sorry, I was working on the wheel of names. So if I'm repeating some of the stuff that you said, I didn't really pay attention, but I do go back and watch them because
repetition is always welcome.
Yeah. Somebody said,
one of the other things that somebody had mentioned in here was a notebook, which I think is fabulous. Miranda really did touch on a lot of stuff. I mean, I've kind of studied this because in Georgia where I had my farm, there were always tornadoes and floods and that kind of stuff. And so, but you had a lot of really good ideas in here that I hadn't thought of before, but I love the notebook idea. And as Jesse told you, you VIPs will have access to this recording. Are you going to share your slides?
I actually have a PDF that has all the information that I talked about in it so that it'll be easy for VIP members to get on our website and download.
Okay. So, and that's why she's on the executive staff, folks, because she's that thorough. And so, yeah, I would go ahead and take those PDFs, download them, print them off, put them into a notebook, and then start filling it out and, getting those things into place. I mean, she's done all the work really for you. Now it's a matter of you putting into practice what she mentioned in here. So yeah, I think a notebook is a great idea. Even one for your car or truck, something like that, if you actually had to leave. So Ginger, did you see anything else in there?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of good stuff. So somebody else mentioned, even if it's only for your preps, having menstrual cups instead of pads or tampons. Let's see.
I love this
There-
one.
and-
It would be a good idea to learn how to stitch an open wound, not just for humans, but also for animals. Because don't you know, when they all get afraid and stressed out, somebody runs into something and gets a cut. So yeah, that was another.
And then
good one.
coloring books and games, and even for the kids, but think about like playing cards
Mhm.
for the adults too, because like us adults, we don't like to be bored either.
Mhm.
Well, I like this, a Polaroid camera that prints pictures right after you take them.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, and in fact, I will actually take the chat because I get a copy of that too. I'll put that in the resources for the VIPs as well. So don't feel like you need to like run through. Oh yeah, here's a good one. So take a cup of water, right? And you put a coin on top of it. This is in your freezer, right? So if your power goes out and that coin is more than halfway down in that cup, if it has melted and the coin is more than halfway down in the cup, then you need to toss everything in your freezer. That's a good one because I'm one of those people that like, I'm such a cheapskate that I'm like, oh, I don't want to throw it away. It's probably still good. But, you really, food safety, you don't need to mess around with that.
Guys, there's a lot of good information in here.
There
A lot of
is.
And
great.
I love, Miranda, I love that you said learn CPR and first
Yeah.
aid, because I mean, that's not to me, that's like a life skill. That's not just emergency preparedness, because I mean, what if a child has a horrible emergency and, or what if, some, God forbid, something horrible happened, you would then have the skills to help just in an everyday emergency situation. So I think that's an awesome,
Absolutely.
USB drive for storing your documents, lots of good stuff. So I'll get that chat and put it on there.
And let's
Too.
keep the conversation going. I
Yep.
will post something on our community so that we can continue to share these ideas with each other. You can never have too much information. You can never learn too many new tricks to prepare for things that are going to happen. We can even talk specifics. What do you do to prepare for a tornado? What do you do to prepare for a winter storm? Let's keep having that conversation with each other there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's enough fear in an emergency that just knowing that you are prepared, or as prepared as you can be, helps to alleviate some of that anxiety and fear. Very good. That was great,
Yes.
Miranda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
So, all right. So what's next?
Giveaways and closing.
Giveaways. You guys know how I love a good giveaway. I love to give stuff away. I don't care if I don't get to keep any of it. I just love it. So, okay. So we have 3 more giveaways. So we already did our VIP attendees for May, which was Gardening Complete. It's this huge book. It's got lots of good information. And Teresa Betal. I know I'm butchering it. Sorry, Teresa. I'll send you an email. We can still be friends, even though I don't speak good English. So next, we have 3 more. We've got our all VIPs giveaway, our all attendees giveaway, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to give away next month at 7:55, just prior to our 8 o'clock start. So if you'd like to see me be a dork with the giveaways, then sign on at 7:55 so I can give stuff away. All right. So for all VIP members, this is regardless of if you can show up to a gathering or not. This is just another VIP perk. It's just a little something to say, hey, we appreciate you. We're glad you're here. I like to give stuff away. So we're going to do another magazine bundle. I've got an issue of Chickens, Common Chick Health Issues, and a Mother Earth News issue here. We've got two magazines to give away. So let me get to the wheel of names. I need like a drum roll, sound effect, because that would just make me extra happy. All right, so my niece is in the background making a drum roll. So this is every VIP member. Look at all those people. Your name needs to be on that list. Good luck, everybody. Who's it gonna be? I can't even like guess because the writing is too small. All right, and our winner is, oh no, it is not Cindy Ball. Sorry, Cindy, you can't win. I will remove her name from that. And I thought I had removed everybody's name that was not eligible to win. So let's do this again. Anybody but Cindy Ball, anybody but Cindy Ball. Come on, winners, chicken dinners. Here we go. Jenna Bell from the Athens Clark chapter. All right, Jenna, I am going to send you an email to get your shipping address. Let me write that down real fast. CC from Georgia. Yay, congratulations. That's awesome. All right, so we will do that. And next, stop share because that bar is in my way. Next, we are going to do the all attendees. These are all attendees. So if you were on the call tonight, then you are on this list. So let me get okay, I'm sorry. I just saw this Q&A. Anna Nelson is asking, many in the Midwest are in a drought. What are some specific things we can do? So Anna, we are going to have breakout rooms that are regional, and that is a great topic for whoever is in the Midwest region. So ask that question in your breakout room, and I'm going to give you all that information here in just a second. All right. So our next all attendees. All right. So this is all attendees, and you guys are going to have a chance to win Dutch oven and cast iron cooking. This is 125 plus tasty recipes for indoor and outdoor cooking. So that means that you can take your Dutch oven or your cast iron and cook it outside over the campfire. Recommendation, try it before you have to do it so you can mess it up when you can still go out to eat and you aren't stuck eating terribly burnt food because you're not used to cooking on a fire. All right, everybody, good luck. Here we go. Dutch oven and cast iron cooking. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Gretchen Hayes just edged out Gareth. All right, Gretchen, I'm writing your name down. Sorry, Gareth. Better luck next time. I really thought Gareth had it in the bag, but Gretchen elbows her way into the lead at the last second. Okay, guys, now on to what's happening next. Oh, Anna says she loves her Dutch oven. I'm so glad. I am afraid of my cast iron. I have a lot of it, and I want to love it, but I don't know. I need somebody to come stay with me for a week and just like make me cook in cast iron for a week, but be there to be my security blanket while I do it. Yes, because we need to use it. But anyway, all right. So now, breakout rooms. The next thing is breakout rooms. So 2 things. If you're going to a breakout room, I'm getting ready to put that link up. And in your breakout room, you'll get a registration link for next month's gathering, which is on food preservation. Yay. Which is part of preparation. So it kind of follows right along. So I think it's going to be more than just canning though. So if you want to register for next month's gathering, then and you want to go to the breakout room, go ahead. When I put the link up for the breakout room here in just 1 minute, go ahead and go to your breakout rooms, and you'll get the link in there. If you're not going to the breakout rooms, hang out here for just a minute, and then I'll put the link up here. I want to give everybody a chance to go ahead and go to the breakout rooms so they don't get confused, because the links look a lot alike. So if you've never been to a breakout room before, you're going to click on the link that I'm getting ready to drop in the chat, and then you'll go according to where you live. So you can talk about things like if you're having a drought regionally, like what can you do regionally, or if your area is tornado prone, like what can you do in your area to like prep for that. So it's a great kind of extension of what we're doing, where, because this is in a webinar format where you can only see us but we can't see you, this gives you a chance to interact with ladies in your area and talk specifically about the topic that we had for each gathering. So without further ado, let me put all panelists, and nope, that's not right. That's the registration link. All right, hang on. I'll get it together here in a second. Oh, cancel. All right. All right. Copy. And here we go. And paste. All right, guys. In the chat right now is a Zoom link. It's just like a regular Zoom meeting. A lot of you guys are familiar with that. If you're going to the breakout rooms, go ahead and jump over there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate everything you do. If you aren't a VIP member, go ahead and scroll back up in the chat, or use the link in the description if you're watching us on YouTube to join us. We would love to have you become a part of our community, and we will see you next month. Thanks so much.